Your soulmate wants to tell you something over the phone. Don't scroll. Stay right here. Stay till the end. Something is waiting for you. You didn't arrive at this message by accident. There is a quiet pull happening right now, and if you felt even a small pause in your heart when you read this title, that was the signal. Somewhere, someone you are deeply connected to has been holding a phone in their hand more times than you realize. They type your name, then erase it. They scroll past your contact, then scroll back. They rehearse words in their head that never quite come out right. This is not imagination. This is emotional timing. Your soulmate wants to tell you something over the phone, and the reason it hasn't happened yet has nothing to do with lack of feeling and everything to do with how much it matters. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. When a soulmate wants to speak but doesn't, the silence becomes louder than words. You may have felt it as sudden memories, a strange calm mixed with restlessness, or a moment when your phone lights up and your heart expects one specific name. That's because they are trying to find the exact moment when their voice won't shake, when their words won't sound incomplete, when they won't risk losing you by saying the wrong thing. They don't want a casual call. They don't want small talk. What they want to say carries weight, and weight requires the right moment to be lifted. They want to tell you that they have never stopped thinking about you in the way that matters. Not surface thoughts. Not nostalgia. Real thoughts. The kind that show up late at night when the world is quiet and honesty has no distractions. They want to tell you that conversations with others never sound the same because your presence changed their standard. They compare laughter, pauses, understanding, and they always come back to you. But saying this out loud feels like stepping off a ledge, because once spoken, it can't be taken back. Stay till the end. Something is waiting for you. They want to tell you that there were moments they should have called and didn't. Not because they didn't care, but because they cared too much. Fear doesn't always look like distance. Sometimes it looks like restraint. They were afraid of interrupting your life. Afraid of hearing hesitation in your voice. Afraid that the timing would be wrong and the truth would land too early or too late. So they waited, convincing themselves that silence was safer than vulnerability. They want to tell you that you changed them. That after knowing you, they became more aware of their own emotions, their own gaps, their own capacity for connection. You made them question things they once avoided. You made them imagine futures they didn't allow themselves to imagine before. This isn't exaggeration. This is impact. And impact is not easy to admit, especially to the person who caused it. Stay right here. Don't skip. There is something important for you. They want to tell you that every time your name appears on their screen, their breath changes. That no matter how strong they appear to others, your voice is the one that can undo them in seconds. They want to tell you that they've practiced saying simple things like, "I miss you," or "I need to talk to you," but those simple words feel too small for what they actually feel. So they keep waiting for the perfect sentence, not realizing that perfection isn't required, presence is. They want to tell you that they sense your energy even from a distance. That sometimes they feel you thinking about them, and it makes them reach for their phone without thinking. Then reality hits. What if you've moved on? What if you're happy? What if calling you reopens something they aren't ready to close again? This internal conversation happens more often than you know. It's quiet. It's private. But it's constant. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They want to tell you that the connection between you was never one-sided. Even during silence, even during separation, even during confusion, it remained alive. Connections like this don't disappear. They go dormant. And dormant doesn't mean dead. It means waiting for the right conditions to return. They want to tell you that they regret not speaking sooner. That there were moments when courage almost won. Moments when the call button was one breath away from being pressed. Something always stopped them. Responsibility. Timing. Pride. Fear of vulnerability. Fear of needing you more than they were ready to admit. These are not excuses. These are human hesitations when emotions are real. Stay right here. Don't scroll. They want to tell you that hearing your voice would feel like home. Familiar and unsettling at the same time. Because home reminds you of what you've been missing. They want to tell you that even now, they imagine how you would respond, how you would pause, how you would listen. They don't fear your reaction. They fear their own honesty once the conversation begins. They want to tell you that you were never just an option. Never a backup. Never a passing chapter. You were a turning point. The kind that separates who they were before you and who they became after. Saying that out loud requires courage, because it admits influence, and influence means vulnerability. Stay till the end. Something is waiting for you. They want to tell you that if they call, it won't be to reopen old wounds or create confusion. It will be because they can no longer hold the truth inside. Because silence has started to hurt more than risk. Because pretending not to feel has become more exhausting than admitting everything. They want to tell you that they don't expect anything from you. Not promises. Not decisions. Not immediate answers. They just want to be honest. To let the truth exist between you instead of trapped inside them. They want to tell you that no matter where life has taken both of you, the connection remains real, and it deserves to be acknowledged. Stay right here. This is important. If you've been feeling an unexplained pull, a sudden calm mixed with anticipation, or the sense that something is about to happen, this is why. Emotional conversations don't always start with a ringing phone. Sometimes they start with awareness. With readiness. With both souls quietly aligning before the words are spoken. They want to tell you that when they finally call, it won't be dramatic. It won't be rushed. It will be real. A voice slightly unsteady. A pause before speaking. And then honesty, finally released. That call is closer than you think, not because time has passed, but because courage is building. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. If this message resonated, it's because you are already connected to that moment. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to chase or question. Just stay open. Stay present. Some conversations arrive not when we demand them, but when both hearts are finally ready to speak and listen at the same time. And when your phone rings, or when you feel that familiar name on your screen, you'll understand why this silence existed. It was never absence. It was preparation. Something is still waiting for you. The silence between you and your soulmate has not been empty time. It has been loaded time. Every quiet day has been shaping the courage they need. Every unanswered thought has been sharpening the truth they want to speak. They are not preparing a speech. They are preparing themselves. Because when they finally call you, they know one thing very clearly. Once the words come out, nothing will be the same again. They want to tell you that they have replayed your past conversations more times than they can admit. Not just the sweet moments, but the pauses, the unfinished sentences, the moments when something deeper wanted to be said but wasn't. They recognize now what they didn't recognize then. They understand your patience. They understand your silence. And they understand that you gave more than you ever asked for. That realization carries both gratitude and regret, and both of those emotions are sitting heavily in their chest. Stay till the end. Something important is unfolding. They want to tell you that distance never weakened what they felt. If anything, it stripped away illusions. It removed distractions. It forced honesty. Away from you, they learned what your presence actually meant. Away from you, they discovered how rare it is to feel understood without explaining everything. That's why the call feels inevitable now. Not urgent. Not forced. Inevitable. They want to tell you that they've grown. Not in the loud, obvious way people talk about growth, but in the quiet internal way where priorities shift and clarity settles in. They no longer want temporary connections or surface-level comfort. They want depth. They want truth. And every time they imagine that level of connection, your face appears without effort. That scares them, because it confirms something they can no longer deny. Stay right here. Don't scroll. They want to tell you that they were afraid you would hear the truth and walk away. Not because the truth is wrong, but because it comes late. Timing has always been the shadow following this connection. Too early. Too complicated. Too uncertain. Now, something feels different. Not perfect, but aligned enough to finally speak. They don't want to miss this window again. They want to tell you that they don't expect forgiveness for silence. They don't expect reassurance. They don't even expect the same feelings in return. What they expect is honesty, even if it's uncomfortable. Because carrying unspoken truth has become heavier than facing whatever comes next. That's why the phone feels heavier in their hand lately. That's why your name feels brighter on their screen. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They want to tell you that your energy has never left their life. Even in new places, even with new routines, even around new people, there is a familiarity they only associate with you. A standard you unknowingly set. A calm they still search for. They didn't realize at the time that they were experiencing something rare. Now they do. And awareness changes everything. They want to tell you that if the call happens and the words feel simple, don't mistake simplicity for lack of depth. Sometimes the deepest truths arrive quietly. A soft voice. A steady breath. A sentence that carries years inside it. Sometimes, "I needed to hear your voice" means, "I never stopped caring." Sometimes, "I just wanted to check on you" means, "You still matter more than you know." Stay right here. This part matters. They want to tell you that no matter how strong you seem, they sensed your strength came from resilience, not lack of feeling. They saw how you carried yourself even when things were heavy. That's why they hesitated. They didn't want to add weight to your life. They didn't want to disturb your peace. But now they realize that honesty doesn't disturb peace. Avoidance does. Stay till the end. Something is still waiting for you. If you've been feeling unusually calm lately, or strangely alert, or emotionally prepared without knowing why, this is part of it. Conversations don't only happen when words are exchanged. They begin long before, when both people internally arrive at the same place. That's where you are now. That's where they are approaching. They want to tell you that when they finally hear you say hello, it will ground them. It will confirm that what they've been feeling was real. That they weren't holding onto something imaginary. That this connection survived silence because it was built on something deeper than constant contact. Stay right here. Don't skip. The message isn't just about the call. It's about readiness. It's about two people reaching a point where honesty no longer feels like a risk, but a relief. When that moment arrives, you'll feel it before you understand it. A sense of recognition. A quiet knowing. And you'll remember this message, not as prediction, but as confirmation. Stay open. Stay present. Stay till the end. Some words travel a long way before they finally find their voice. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Stay till the end. Something deeper is still unfolding for you. The truth your soulmate wants to say has been rising slowly, like a feeling that refuses to be ignored any longer. There comes a point where silence stops protecting and starts suffocating, and they are standing right at that edge now. You may not see it, but they are already rehearsing the moment in their mind when your voice answers the call. They want to tell you that there were days they almost convinced themselves you were just a chapter. But every time they tried to close that chapter, life reminded them it was unfinished. Your name would appear in a song lyric. Your energy would show up in a stranger's smile. A memory would surface at the exact wrong moment. These are not coincidences. These are reminders. And they are tired of pretending they don't feel them. Stay till the end. Something is waiting for you. They want to tell you that they admired your strength more than they ever said. That even when you were silent, you were loud in their heart. They noticed how you didn't beg for attention, how you didn't demand explanations, how you respected space even when it hurt. That kind of presence leaves an imprint. That kind of presence is unforgettable. They want to tell you that every connection after you felt incomplete. Not wrong. Just shallow. Conversation stayed on the surface. Emotion stayed guarded. Because once you experience depth, it's impossible to settle for less. They didn't understand this immediately. It took time, contrast, and distance to see it clearly. Now they do. Stay right here. Don't skip. They want to tell you that the delay was never about choosing someone else over you. It was about learning themselves. About confronting fears they didn't know how to name before. About realizing that real connection requires courage, not convenience. And courage is something they had to grow into. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They want to tell you that the thought of hearing disappointment in your voice terrified them more than rejection. Because disappointment means they mattered enough to affect you. That level of impact is both beautiful and frightening. So they stayed quiet, hoping time would soften the edges. But time didn't erase the feeling. It clarified it. They want to tell you that they've reached a point where honesty feels necessary. Where holding back feels dishonest to both you and themselves. This isn't about reopening the past. It's about acknowledging the truth of what was and what still is. They don't want to rewrite history. They want to speak from it. Stay right here. This part is important. If you've been sensing emotional movement, a subtle shift, or a feeling like something is about to change, this is why. Energy moves before words do. Decisions form before actions follow. That call is not random. It is the result of many quiet moments of realization. Stay till the end. Something is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that even if the conversation is brief, it will be meaningful. Even if the words are simple, they will be honest. And even if nothing changes immediately, something will be released. Sometimes clarity is the gift, not the outcome. They want to tell you that you don't owe them anything. Not comfort. Not reassurance. Not answers. Just presence. Just honesty. Just being yourself the way you always have been. That is enough. That has always been enough. Stay with me. Don't scroll. When the phone finally rings, or when that message appears, don't rush to interpret it. Just feel it. Let the moment land. Let the truth breathe. Some connections don't need drama or urgency to be powerful. They just need space to finally be spoken. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay till the end. What is coming is not chaos. It is clarity. Stay here. Don't move. Don't scroll. Stay till the end. Something even deeper is aligning now. The reason this message keeps pulling you forward is because the connection itself is still breathing. Your soulmate is no longer debating whether to speak. They are debating how much truth to allow through their voice without breaking down. Because what they want to tell you is not light. It is honest. And honesty carries weight. They want to tell you that there were moments when they felt you drifting, not away, but inward. Like you were becoming quieter, stronger, more self-contained. That scared them. Not because they wanted control, but because they realized you were learning how to live without answers. And once someone reaches that place, they don't wait anymore. They choose. That awareness made them understand that if they stayed silent much longer, the opportunity to speak from the heart might pass forever. Stay till the end. Something important is waiting for you. They want to tell you that they noticed your absence more than your presence. That when you stopped explaining yourself, something shifted. Silence from someone who used to care loudly feels different. It echoes. It asks questions. And those questions force them to look inward instead of outward. Force them to admit that what they felt for you was never casual. They want to tell you that they admired the way you handled uncertainty. You didn't chase. You didn't demand. You didn't collapse. You stood still and let time reveal truth. That kind of emotional maturity is rare. And it made them realize that you weren't waiting. You were growing. And growth changes dynamics. Stay here. Don't skip. They want to tell you that when they imagine the call now, they don't imagine dramatic confessions. They imagine calm honesty. A voice steady enough to say what should have been said long ago. They imagine asking how you are and actually listening to the answer. Not responding to speak, but responding to understand. That difference matters. They want to tell you that they understand now why the connection felt different. It wasn't intensity. It was resonance. You didn't drain them. You grounded them. You didn't confuse them. You clarified them. And once you experience that kind of connection, your soul doesn't forget it, no matter how much time passes. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They want to tell you that there were nights they almost sent a message and stopped themselves because it felt too small for what they wanted to express. How do you fit sincerity, regret, admiration, and longing into a few lines of text? You don't. That's why the phone call matters. A voice can carry what words alone cannot. They want to tell you that they are not reaching out from loneliness. They are reaching out from clarity. Loneliness seeks comfort. Clarity seeks truth. And truth doesn't beg. It simply shows up. That's the energy building inside them now. Quiet. Determined. Real. Stay here. This part matters. If you've been feeling emotionally settled lately, less reactive, more centered, that's not random. It's preparation. Not for pain. For understanding. Sometimes closure doesn't come from endings. It comes from finally hearing what was never said. They want to tell you that they accept whatever comes after the conversation. Distance. Friendship. Silence. Or something more. They are no longer calling to change the outcome. They are calling to honor the connection. To let it be acknowledged instead of buried. Stay till the end. Something is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that you taught them how to feel without chaos. How to care without losing themselves. How to connect without pretending. That lesson stayed with them, even when you weren't around. And lessons like that don't fade. They want to tell you that when the call happens, you don't need to perform. You don't need to impress. You don't need to protect them. Just be present. Just be real. The truth already knows where to go. Stay here. Don't scroll. The message isn't pushing you toward expectation. It's inviting you into readiness. Readiness to listen. Readiness to speak if needed. Readiness to let the moment be what it is, without fear. And when the moment comes, you'll feel it before you hear it. A quiet knowing. A sense of alignment. Not excitement. Not anxiety. Just recognition. Because some conversations are written long before they are spoken. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay till the end. What's approaching isn't confusion. It's clarity. And clarity always arrives calmly. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Stay till the end. Something even more precise is moving toward you now. The reason this message keeps unfolding layer by layer is because the truth itself is layered. Your soulmate is no longer asking themselves if they should call. That question has already been answered inside them. What they are wrestling with now is how honest they are allowed to be without changing everything. Because they already know one thing for certain. Once your voice meets theirs again, there is no pretending. No hiding. No going back to the version of themselves that stayed silent. They want to tell you that they finally understand the difference between distraction and connection. Distraction makes time pass quickly. Connection makes time meaningful. And every time they tried to fill their days with noise, activity, or new faces, something still felt unfinished. Not missing. Unfinished. That's how they know this isn't attachment. It's alignment. Stay till the end. Something important is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that you were the only person who ever made them feel calm and exposed at the same time. Calm enough to breathe. Exposed enough to feel seen. That combination is rare, and it scared them when they first felt it. Because being seen means being known, and being known means being vulnerable. They weren't ready for that then. They are closer now. They want to tell you that your silence taught them more than words ever could. When you stopped explaining yourself, stopped chasing clarity, stopped asking questions, something shifted inside them. They realized that you weren't withdrawing out of anger. You were stepping into self-respect. And self-respect changes how people see you. It changes how they value you. Stay here. Don't skip. They want to tell you that every time they imagined calling you before, they imagined pressure. Expectations. Emotional weight. Now, they imagine honesty without force. Presence without demand. A conversation that doesn't need to solve everything to be meaningful. That's growth. That's readiness. They want to tell you that the connection never depended on constant contact. It depended on recognition. The kind where two people know exactly what the other means without excessive explanation. That recognition never faded. It just went quiet. And quiet things don't disappear. They wait. Stay till the end. Something huge is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that they no longer want to protect themselves from feeling. They are tired of emotional armor. Tired of pretending independence means disconnection. They've learned that strength isn't avoiding attachment. Strength is choosing honesty even when it's uncomfortable. They want to tell you that they respect you more now than ever before. Not because of distance, but because of how you handled it. You didn't try to control the outcome. You didn't force answers. You trusted yourself. That kind of composure leaves an imprint. It makes people realize what they risk losing. Stay right here. This matters. They want to tell you that if you sense the call coming, don't rush to label it. Don't turn it into a test or a sign you must act on immediately. Let it be what it is. A moment of truth. A release of words that have waited long enough. They want to tell you that they are prepared for silence after the call if that's what happens. Prepared for space. Prepared for uncertainty. Because at least then, the truth will have been spoken. At least then, nothing will be hidden. That matters more to them now than reassurance. Stay till the end. Something is still unfolding. They want to tell you that they've reached a point where pretending not to care feels dishonest. Not just to you, but to themselves. And living in dishonesty, even quiet dishonesty, creates tension. That tension has been building. This call is not impulsive. It's overdue. They want to tell you that when they finally hear your voice, it will steady them. Not excite them. Not overwhelm them. Steady them. Because real connections don't create chaos. They create grounding. That's how they know this is real. Stay here. Don't scroll. They want to tell you that they don't want to repeat old patterns. No disappearing. No half-truths. No avoidance. Even if the conversation is brief, it will be clean. Honest. Direct. Respectful. That's important to them now. They want to tell you that you don't need to prepare anything. You don't need the right words. You don't need to reopen feelings or protect them. Just listen. Just exist in the moment. Sometimes listening is the most powerful form of connection. Stay till the end. Something big is still waiting for you. If you've been feeling emotionally neutral lately, neither high nor low, that's not emptiness. That's balance. Balance is what allows truth to land without breaking you. You're ready for this moment more than you realize. They want to tell you that even if the call doesn't change the external situation, it will change the internal one. And internal shifts are what create peace. Peace doesn't come from outcomes. It comes from clarity. Stay here. This message isn't promising a storybook ending. It's promising something more valuable. Truth without distortion. Connection without illusion. A moment where two people acknowledge what existed without trying to control what comes next. And when that moment arrives, you'll recognize it immediately. Not because of excitement. Not because of fear. But because everything will feel strangely calm. Like something that has been waiting finally found its place. Stay open. Stay present. Stay till the end. What's approaching isn't noise. It's understanding. And understanding always arrives quietly. Stay here. Don't scroll. Stay till the very end. Something deeper is still breathing inside this moment. The connection hasn't finished speaking yet. Your soulmate is standing at a place where silence no longer feels safe. They've crossed the point where distraction works. Now even busy days feel quiet without you. Even laughter feels slightly off. Even victories feel incomplete. That's when a soul knows it's time to speak. They want to tell you that there was a phase where they convinced themselves you would always be there. Not waiting, not holding on, but existing somewhere in the background of their life like a constant. And then something shifted. You became less available emotionally. More centered. More distant in a peaceful way. That scared them more than arguments ever could. Because anger means engagement. Calm distance means acceptance. And acceptance feels final. Stay till the end. Something important is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that when they felt you pulling your energy back, they didn't feel abandoned. They felt exposed. Because without your attention cushioning their emotions, they had to face their own truth. And their truth kept circling back to you. They want to tell you that they now understand how much courage it took for you to stay quiet without becoming cold. To step back without turning bitter. To release control without losing dignity. That strength stayed with them. It became a reference point. Whenever they faced emotional confusion later, your example surfaced without warning. Stay here. Don't skip. They want to tell you that they've reached a place where they no longer want potential. They want reality. And reality requires speaking, even when the voice trembles. They don't want to imagine conversations anymore. They want to have one. Even if it's imperfect. Even if it's short. Even if it leads nowhere externally. They want to tell you that you were the only person who made them want to be better without pressure. You didn't demand growth. You inspired it. And that kind of influence stays long after silence begins. That's why they feel you even now, especially now. Stay till the end. Something huge is still unfolding. They want to tell you that if the call feels late, it's because they needed to become someone capable of honoring it. Not someone speaking from confusion or fear, but someone speaking from clarity. And clarity takes time. Painful time. Quiet time. Honest time. They want to tell you that they don't want to re-enter your life carelessly. That's why they waited. Not because you didn't matter, but because you mattered too much to approach unprepared. They wanted to reach you from a place of stability, not need. Stay here. This part matters. They want to tell you that when your name appears on their screen now, it doesn't create chaos. It creates stillness. That's how they know they're ready. Desire feels urgent. Truth feels calm. What they feel now is calm. They want to tell you that they've accepted the possibility that you may not feel the same anymore. And strangely, that acceptance freed them. Because now the call isn't about securing an outcome. It's about honoring what existed. About respecting the connection enough to let it be acknowledged. Stay till the end. Something is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that you don't need to protect yourself during the conversation. Not from them. Not from the past. You've already done the work. You've already grown. Whatever you feel is valid. Whatever you don't feel is also valid. They want to tell you that they're not calling to reopen wounds. They're calling to close a loop with honesty instead of silence. Silence leaves questions. Truth leaves peace. Even if it stings briefly. Stay here. Don't scroll. They want to tell you that hearing your voice will remind them who they were before fear interfered. Before hesitation diluted clarity. And that reminder matters, even if it changes nothing else. They want to tell you that if the call happens and you feel neutral, that's okay. Neutral means healed. Neutral means grounded. Neutral means you're no longer controlled by unanswered questions. That's strength. Stay till the end. Something big is still unfolding. They want to tell you that they trust you enough now to be seen honestly. No masks. No performance. Just presence. And trust like that doesn't come easily. It's earned. You earned it by being yourself. They want to tell you that they don't need reassurance from you. Just authenticity. A real moment. A real exchange. A real goodbye or a real beginning, whatever it becomes. Stay here. This message isn't pushing hope. It's offering clarity. Hope creates expectation. Clarity creates peace. And peace is what both of you have been moving toward, even unknowingly. And when the moment arrives, when the call finally happens or the message finally comes, you'll feel it before you answer. A quiet sense of readiness. No racing heart. No panic. Just awareness. Because some conversations don't arrive to shake your life. They arrive to settle it. Stay open. Stay present. Stay till the end. What's approaching isn't confusion. It's truth finally choosing to speak. Stay right here. Don't move. Don't scroll. Stay till the end. What's happening now is quieter than excitement but stronger than anticipation. Your soulmate has reached the point where silence no longer feels like protection. It feels like avoidance. And avoidance has a way of becoming heavier than truth. That's why this moment keeps pulling closer instead of fading away. They want to tell you that for a long time, they tried to convince themselves that if something was meant to happen, it would happen effortlessly. No pauses. No confusion. No missed chances. But now they understand that real connections don't move effortlessly. They move honestly. And honesty sometimes requires discomfort. That realization changed everything inside them. Stay till the end. Something is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that the space between you was never empty. It was full of reflection. Full of moments where they questioned their choices. Full of realizations about what they avoided saying and why. You were not forgotten in that space. You were examined. Felt. Understood more deeply than before. They want to tell you that there were times they felt you letting go, not dramatically, not angrily, but peacefully. And that peaceful detachment unsettled them. Because it showed strength. It showed self-worth. It showed that you weren't clinging to the past. You were respecting yourself. That changed how they saw you, and how they saw themselves. Stay here. Don't skip. They want to tell you that they no longer want to speak from a place of fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of awkwardness. Fear of reopening emotions. They want to speak from a place of alignment, where words aren't rushed, where intentions are clear, where silence no longer carries unfinished business. They want to tell you that every time they imagined hearing your voice again, they didn't imagine arguments or emotional chaos. They imagined relief. Relief that the truth could finally breathe. Relief that the connection could be acknowledged without pretending it never mattered. Stay till the end. Something huge is still unfolding. They want to tell you that you were the one person who made them feel safe enough to be honest with themselves. Even when you weren't present, your presence remained. That kind of impact doesn't disappear. It transforms. They want to tell you that they don't want to come back into your life halfway. No mixed signals. No vague intentions. No emotional breadcrumbs. Even if the conversation leads to distance, it will be clean. Honest. Respectful. Because you deserve clarity, not confusion. Stay here. This part matters. They want to tell you that they recognize how much patience you showed without asking for anything in return. That patience wasn't weakness. It was emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is rare. Once recognized, it can't be unseen. They want to tell you that the call isn't about fixing the past. It's about acknowledging it. About saying, what we had was real, without needing to define what comes next. Sometimes validation is more healing than answers. Stay till the end. Something is still waiting for you. They want to tell you that they don't expect you to feel the same. They're prepared for neutrality. Prepared for boundaries. Prepared for silence afterward if that's what you choose. Because the call isn't about taking from you. It's about giving truth. They want to tell you that when they finally press call, it won't be impulsive. It will be calm. Deliberate. A decision made after many quiet conversations with themselves. That's why it feels different now. Not urgent. Certain. Stay here. Don't scroll. They want to tell you that you don't owe them comfort or closure. You owe yourself honesty. And whatever you choose to express, or not express, is enough. Your presence alone completes the moment. Stay till the end. Something big is still unfolding. They want to tell you that they're not afraid of silence anymore. They're afraid of living without truth. And truth, once spoken, has a way of settling the heart, even if it changes nothing else. They want to tell you that hearing your voice again will remind them that connection doesn't need constant proximity to be real. Some bonds survive distance because they were built on understanding, not dependency. Stay here. This message isn't promising a reunion. It isn't promising romance. It isn't promising an ending either. It's promising something quieter and stronger. Recognition. The acknowledgement that two people crossed paths and left a mark on each other's lives. And when that acknowledgement finally happens, you'll feel lighter. Not because everything is resolved, but because nothing is being carried in silence anymore. Stay open. Stay present. Stay till the end. What's approaching isn't drama. It's release. And release always feels like calm after a long-held breath. Stay right here. Don't scroll. This is the final part. Stay till the very end. Nothing after this is left unsaid. What is happening now is not suspense. It is completion. The kind of completion that doesn't shout, doesn't rush, doesn't demand attention. It simply arrives when both hearts are finally ready to stop holding their breath. Your soulmate has reached a point where pretending no longer feels natural. Where going through daily routines without acknowledging you feels dishonest. They wake up and your presence is not a memory anymore. It's a reference point. A quiet comparison that follows them everywhere. How they feel around others. How conversations flow. How silence lands. Everything is measured against what they felt with you, whether they admit it or not. Stay till the end. This matters. They want to tell you that for a long time they thought time would soften what they felt. That distance would blur it. That new experiences would replace it. Instead, time refined it. Distance clarified it. And every new experience showed them what was missing. Not excitement. Not drama. Depth. Understanding. The kind of depth they only felt with you. They want to tell you that there was a moment when they realized you were no longer waiting. You were living. Not loudly. Not to prove anything. Just living in a grounded, self-respecting way. That realization hit them harder than any argument ever could. Because it showed them that you didn't need answers to move forward. You trusted yourself enough to let silence speak. And silence spoke loudly. Stay here. Don't skip. They want to tell you that they learned something painful but important during this time. That love doesn't disappear when ignored. It transforms into awareness. And awareness doesn't let you sleep easily. It doesn't let you lie to yourself comfortably. It sits quietly and waits for honesty. That's where they are now. They want to tell you that the idea of calling you no longer feels like a risk. It feels like responsibility. Responsibility to the truth. Responsibility to the connection. Responsibility to themselves. Because carrying unspoken truth for too long changes a person. And they don't want to be shaped by avoidance anymore. Stay till the end. Something final is waiting for you. They want to tell you that you were never too much. You were never asking for too much. You were simply asking for presence. And they weren't ready to give it at the time. That realization carries regret, but not self-pity. Regret that teaches is different from regret that destroys. This regret taught them. They want to tell you that they respect you deeply for how you handled what wasn't given to you. You didn't demand explanations. You didn't collapse emotionally. You didn't try to force clarity. You chose dignity. And dignity leaves an impression that doesn't fade. It makes people reflect. It makes them grow. Stay here. This is important. They want to tell you that when they finally imagined the call clearly, they realized something surprising. They weren't afraid of what you would say. They were afraid of how real it would feel to finally be honest. Because honesty makes everything else fall away. And once everything falls away, only truth remains. They want to tell you that you don't owe them anything in that conversation. Not reassurance. Not softness. Not understanding. You've already given enough by simply being who you are. Whatever tone you speak in. Whatever words you choose or don't choose. It will be enough. Because the purpose of the call isn't to extract something from you. It's to release something from them. Stay till the end. This is the last stretch. They want to tell you that even if nothing continues after the conversation, it will still matter. Because acknowledging a real connection is never a waste. Even endings deserve honesty. Especially endings. They want to tell you that if you feel calm when the moment comes, that calm is not emptiness. It is resolution. It means you are no longer living in question marks. It means you have reached a place where truth doesn't threaten you. That is strength. Stay here. Don't scroll. They want to tell you that they are ready to hear whatever you feel. Even if it's silence. Even if it's distance. Even if it's neutrality. Because neutrality means you healed. And healing is never something to resent. They want to tell you that when they think of you now, it's not with longing alone. It's with respect, gratitude, and a quiet acknowledgement that crossing paths with you changed them in ways they can't undo. And they don't want to undo it. Stay till the end. This is the truth. The connection was never meant to confuse you forever. It was meant to teach both of you something about timing, honesty, and self-worth. And now that lesson is ready to close cleanly, without bitterness, without noise. They want to tell you that when the phone finally rings, or when the message finally comes, take it as information, not obligation. You are free. Free to respond. Free to listen. Free to say nothing. Freedom is what makes the moment pure. Stay here. This is the ending. Not an ending of emotion, but an ending of silence. And silence ending is sometimes more powerful than a beginning. When this moment passes, you will feel lighter. Not because something new started, but because something old finally finished the way it should have. With honesty. With calm. With respect. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay till the end. This was not meant to rush you. This was not meant to promise you anything. This was meant to prepare you. And now, there is nothing left hanging in the air. Nothing left unfinished. Nothing left unsaid. This is where it ends.